really wonderful to be here and see these bright young faces, students in the classroom. Nothing is exciting than this, to go back to the classroom, because those were the places which made me where I am today. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Swati Nayak, and I work as an agriculture scientist with International Rice Research Institute. I'm based out of India, but I look after our global programs around seed systems. So I travel across multiple countries, especially in South Asia, Bangladesh, Nepal, and also touch base with our stakeholders in Africa. So the reason why I got this Borlaug Field Award 2023 is primarily my work with seed system space, where I was trying to ensure that quality seeds, and the seeds of noble germplasms, or the varieties which our scientists, great breeders are breeding, that reaches to smallholder farmers. And there remain challenges around that. We understand that how great scientists you are and how greatest innovations you have, until and unless that is accessible to the end users, and for us, the end user is our smallholder farmer, till that time there is no meaning of those investments. So that was the work what I tried to do, engaging myself with community, the institutions, many women farmers, and working in different remote villages where seed access is a dream. I mean, we might think that this is a basic input, who will not have seeds? But I'm sorry to let you know that in a country like India, for major crops like rice, which is backbone of food security, only 30 to 40% of the farmers have access to formal seed. That means which is certified or which is quality assured or distributed by the institutions, be it public or private. The rest 60 to 70% grow their own seeds in terms of saving seed from their harvest. So basically that is neither quality assured nor the desirable traits are being carried with it. So eventually they have productivity loss, because we understand seed is a major contributor to your overall productivity. And it is a basic right for the farmers who is growing. So in order to ensure that social equity is established, that they have the access to this basic input. So this is our work and this is our story, where I would like to tell you about more what we have been doing. If we look back, the story of Green Revolution in agriculture, where Dr. Borlaug played a critical role and many people joined along, like Dr. Swati Nayak. So that led to arrival of many high-yielding varieties in major food grain crops, when many nations were starving and there was no food. At that point of time, when these miracle varieties got introduced in different countries and different regions, farmers suddenly saw what a food grain production should look like. So they had the most desired food security, the production system getting stabilized, and the houses, the poor families were fed through those production. So high-yielding varieties and the quality seed has a history in the food security which we have achieved across different nations. So that remains an important technology in the entire environment where agriculture is working. Forget about all the high-cost investment like machineries, like other technology. We are talking about AI-enabled systems and everything. But this basic technology, a good high-yielding variety, has really created a transformational change in our food system. And hence, seed remains an important area which we cannot ignore in agriculture intervention programs. However, when you look at the problems, that remains, you go back to all these different developing nations where people are growing different high-yielding varieties. You will see the average age of these varieties are like, say, 30 years or 40 years. So they have been growing one variety for, say, 40 to 50 years, and they are unable to replace it. And we ideally advise that you should not grow the same variety after it is 10 years old, because the improved version of the variety is available, new germplasms are available, you should replace. But unfortunately, you see that, like, even if a country there are 1500 odd varieties for rice is released or notified, farmers are growing probably only 40 to 50 varieties. And out of that, maybe, handful 10, 15 varieties are capturing 60 to 70% of the total market value or the, the volume. So, thousands of varieties in which we kind of invested resources, those are basically not reaching to those areas. It's not that good varieties are not being bred. However, the delivery channel is not ensuring that information and awareness about the existence of that variety, where to source, how much to source, and how to make it in a low-cost manner and make it available to the farmers. Those whole mechanisms somehow is not connected or integrated with the varietal development programs. So we see a clear gap between the research and extension over here. So we develop amazing products. Product means, here the varieties, we develop amazing products, but how does that reach out to, who takes that ownership, how that whole integration happens? There remains several silos, and that has led to low varietal adoption or product turnover or seed access. So we started a concept we need to also consider that these varieties or the seeds which we are considering, let us not just talk that this is a basic input. The whole principle of considering it is as a basic input might sound not very evolved, because what we understand that why many new varieties are not reaching, it could be also we are not able to rightly position against the replacement option. Like the land area is constant, right? In a country, agricultural land is almost constant. Maybe due to urbanization, it is reducing, but it will never increase. So in that context, if the farmer has to replace his or her variety and has to grow another new variety, there we have to strongly influence the behavior change aspect, because it is a major decision for that. So to support that decision change process, we need to show the value in terms of economic gain first, and then rest comes as secondary. We as a environmentalist or scientists and researchers might be concerned about different other aspects, nutrition, environment, and everything. However, the farmer, the producer who is growing, the first and primary driver could be the economic gain, how much extra produce he or she is getting against the current variety and how that value is being realized. So that requires targeted product replacement strategy. That requires a very mindful product management process. We need to define that when we will introduce a product to the market and when will we exit from that, because we really want to see increasing productivity level or at least a good constant productivity level, and we need to replace the variety. So this entire product management concept has been missing in our public breeding and agriculture extension programs completely. Many private sectors have evolved, but that too is also only limited to many large companies, seed companies, but not to large number of small private companies which are working in the area where we are focusing on. So they also need to be capacitated around this entire concept. So we started to introduce this thing, and then we started building that while we talk about equity, access, and everything, let us also try to understand the market, and we started building the concept of market segmentation, where we try to introduce and segregate different varieties which we will be taking to the farmers. And farmers are just not influenced by their own choices and decisions that I like this variety, I will grow this variety. I'm sorry, even if we as agriculture extension program go and demonstrate that, okay, look at this variety, this is great, you can grow, but when we exit, they will rely on the local source of input supply. Who is gonna ensure that? We will not be there every time to supply the seeds, because we are neither the seed businessmen or we are not the seed companies. So then when these innovations are coming to, the local system has to take up also to ensure that locally seed is available. the dealers, the retailers are stocking up enough quantity of seeds so that they can buy or procure. The agriculture extension functionaries are distributing in their mainstream programs. So those aspects needs to be taken care. Hence, when we try to take account of all these market driving factors, then only we are taking care of other influencers in the market chain also, who could be very decisive, like which product to accept and what to reject. So that's why we brought in the market segmentation concept, where we consider different parameters to group a particular set of varieties, like will work, like growing methods, how many duration of the the crop will, the variety will be, what will be the grain shape, and what will be the cooking quality, ecology in which it will be grown. In that aspect, what we tried to do is that when we segmented them as per the market needs, we removed the research bias in terms of our breeding programs what used to exist. Like every breeder who breeds, they will be really possessive and will have their own biases to their products. They would think that this variety or germplasm which we have developed will be really great and will change the humankind or the situations. But as a neutral, bringing in the neutral perspective, we wanted to pull the product as per the market segments. And what we did, that we tried to reach out to a large number of breeding network partners and the breeders who are working in national system every year to nominate their products fitting into a particular market segment. And then we randomly try to segregate and pool based on criteria that which one we want to really test and take it to the farmer field. And it has nothing to do that which individual center or which breeder is nominating. It only has to do through these defined driving factors and criteria which we predefined. And then we did a blindfolded testing in large scale in farmer field, because let us also understand the current testing systems in our countries where we release the varieties, those are not representative. Those evidences are not representative of different diverse ecological or the farmer labor situations are. Only in a country like 130 billion people in India, and we are just doing 20-25 sites testing and then releasing a product. So we wanted to test more to know the adaptation of that variety in actual realistic farmer situation. A smallholder farmers will not have optimal conditions. They will probably not apply the prescribed fertilizers, prescribed pesticides, and the so-called optimal management practices. They will do as per their cultural practice, they will do as per the available resources. In that case, there will be yield trade-off. So why we are not projecting the realistic yields? So therefore it was important that we test our on-farm testings in the farmer management condition without bringing our research biases, without bringing our biases as a scientist that, okay, these are the prescribed practices for these varieties and you will get this tons per hectare yield. No, let us be realistic. And we try to work with smallholder farmers, men and women farmers, to organize large number of, in thousands, in large number of adaptive testing in order to create that, that practical or contextual learning process. In that process, when we grouped this product as per market segments and run the on-farm testing, we always took the benchmark or check the most market ruling variety which we want to really compete or we want to show the value. We do not want to give farmer a suboptimal product. We want to give the farmers the best available product so they can compare. So if we have pooled new varieties nominated by X, Y, Z breeders in the country and then keeping the check as the farmer variety which is the most promising and popular, then we are able to show them what is the value they will be getting, what is the best value proposition for them, so that they will able to make the most realistic decision of what to grow, what not to grow. They will be able to see through the season-long performance, not only just on the basis of yield, but also the overall performance in terms of how the resistance to diseases, pests, or climate change aspects like floods, drought. Those are being shown by the variety which they are growing. What is the plant height, whether lodging is there or not, how many tillers they are getting. So they are seeing, observing, they are being able to compare themselves apart from the support which we are giving them in terms of measuring few of the parameters or traits. So we created those opportunities for them so that they are able to identify what they want to grow. This kind of large-scale on-farm testings created very reliable, statistically significant data, but also large number of community feedback to us that what is working, what is not working. And we try to create a feedback loop in every year in our discussions when annual advancement meeting happens with the breeding group. The people who nominate these products, we go back and tell that story, that what we have observed, what is being nominated by you. And now, as a policy level, we are trying to advocate that let us streamline these processes even before you release the product. We need to save seeds to have large number of farm testings with the farmers before we decide. We have to make our varietal release system very stringent so that only quality and the best product is going to the farmers, not the flooded choices. Especially for a crop like rice, where you have thousands of varieties being bred, and there is no limitation to that. We need to also ensure that best products are going. So relying on this data, then we are more confident now that which product the farmer wants to grow, which product is best for the farmers, not recommend